Hello, welcome to Darker Days Radio presents Iron Kingdoms RPG. Just bear with us because we've got one player missing currently, and I need to realign some windows. We're going to do that, and then I'm going to duplicate that when I can. Where is it? Window capture. But yes, while I'm pissing around, obviously. We are playing Iron Kingdoms RPG second edition, which is a D6 2D6 system by Prohibitive Press, based in their Iron Kingdoms RPG setting, which is that overlay working? I've done something wrong. Wait up. Trying to do multiple things at once is never a good idea. There we go. Let me just move that over to there and then crop it. I know.
All right,
This is classic. Yeah, go on. Talk
I can
for a
free
bit.
Mike a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna be playing Iron Kingdom's role playing game today, which is the Full Metal Fantasy experience, Full Metal Fantasy RPG. It's kind of a world that's it's a world of magic and technology at the cusp of an industrial revolution, and it's got some pretty sweet giant stompy robots as well, which none of us have, unfortunately. But you never know what might happen. You know, somebody could respec into Warcaster, and we could have a giant robot following us around.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, but I guess because this is our first like real session. Last session was character creation and um, just like a little intro adventure. We can all kind of introduce our characters again, I guess. So yeah, Ben, why don't you go ahead first, because you got probably the most unique looking of the characters.
Yeah, okay. So I am playing Fragate Bragg. Fragate Bragg is a Trollkin, which is one of the unique races to the Iron Kingdom's world. Fragate Bragg is a ex-military officer now turned pugilist, sort of providing the muscle to our team of investigators, and providing them that necessary assistance that is required for, any good adventuring party. Bragg is coarse and rough and rather to the point, but all in all, a rather affable and friendly member of the group, provided you're not, messing around with stuff that is ungodly relics of a best forgotten age.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely a sweet character. And Chris, what about you?
To find the mute button first. Yes, I'm playing Allender Finch, a arcanist, trained at the University of Corvus in his research and learning, but also trained as an arcanist, and also a Thamurite advocate on the sly, being a little bit of a sinister sorcerer around the edges. Perhaps a little bit more around the edges, but so he's a Corvus native. He's providing the party with quite a lot of magical backup and support, and theoretically a certain amount of perceptiveness and information as well. But we'll see how that comes out in future sessions if it comes out. He's a bit more low key, I suppose, than Fragate, for example, who's quite big and in your face. Allender is more. I will hesitate to say subtle, but perhaps a bit more circumspect, shall we say. Currently and hopefully permanently, his allegiance to Thamar will not become a big known thing, but for those who are familiar with the setting and Thamarites, Allender is of the kind of Thamurite who believes in Thamar as the goddess of freedom from oppression and of self-actualization, as opposed to the goddess of kicking puppies and eating babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've established that no one else in the party knows that you're secretly a Thamurite.
Correct.
Okay. I'm playing as Zacharias Zinfandel, who is a Lealese nobleman and also a bit of a spy on the side. Mostly just trying to, get information about what might be going on with with Leo's large neighbor, Kador, which has always been a threat to them.
Excellent. And so, yes, last session we did character creation and we also ran the first kind of intro game scenario, which is available for this version of Iron Kingdoms, which is called Fools Rush In. And you basically had to investigate the death of an alchemist and an apparent kidnapping. This guardsman of Corvus requests you to recover a artifact from this alchemist so he could exchange it for his family. Upon going there, you discover that there was a lot more going on than you expected. The alchemist was dead. There were signs of the undead having been present. The item in question had disappeared. However, you were able to track down, with what little information you had, where this gang or where these creatures could have come from. And it was a boat in the docks of Corvus. And there you encountered the crew and who they were working for, which was this necromancer, clearly an agent perhaps of the undead kingdom, the undead empire of Crix. And you also encountered a rather large Ogren and defeated them and recovered this item. However, you then realised that the person you were working for was basically set you up. And however, you were fortunately not saved from repercussions and blame by the Order of Illumination led by the Father Dumas, the high priest of the cathedral to Morrow in the city of Corvus, and he has set you on a further line of investigation, because it seems that whatever the alchemist was working on, this is part of something larger involving a alchemist or arcanist or arcane mechanic known as Bowden, who was last spotted near the city of Highgate, or the coastal city of Highgate, to the south of Signar, south from where you are. So you are being paid for this. You've also been paid a handsome sum of around about 120 gold crowns in total for the capture of the Ogren, who you defeated, and also the undead, because the Ogren, of course, had a bounty on his head. And you've been given a small stipend to keep you going, and contacts at a badge of office, essentially, that you can use for when you attend any Order of Illumination holdings, so you can gain supplies, ammo, lodging when you're travelling. You've taken a train all the way south from Corvus, and once you got to one of the Great Lakes in the centre of Corvus, you've then gone on steamboat south down the river to the city of Highgate. I say city. Highgate is an interesting place. It is on the coastline of Signar, overlooking the broken coast, where beyond that are numerous pirates, and of course the undead empire of Crix. And Highgate, in order to protect its ships, the fleet, the navy of Signar, has this massive construction of numerous hoists to lift out whole ships out of the sea up the cliff face where Highgate is. So Highgate is a city that is on top of the cliffs and then works its way down the cliffs with ships literally swaying in the air, held aloft by hoists. So it's pretty impressive. You arrive there, say, on the steamboat early in the evening, but you're not in at the actual coastline. You would have got off further up the river before it reached the estuary, and so you've been able to make your way via on foot, or maybe you hired a carriage and you've made your way up to Highgate, up onto the settlement that overlooks on the cliffs. So Highgate is a military outpost as you're trudging along, as you know, farmland gives way to the city and the city walls. There are numerous soldiers and patrolling. There is lots of goods and cargo being moved around, being either moved from Highgate onto carriages to go elsewhere, or you can see there are numerous paddle barges going back up the stream, heading towards the train, to depots to go on trains and go to beyond to the north to Corvus. There's a lot of workers, there's a lot of shouting as gear is moved around. There are mainly a human and rural folk population, rural folk being dwarves. Though, you do see the odd gobber, and you do also see the odd trollkin and ogren, stevedores and soldiers who are working hard. What else can we say about this interesting city other than how it hoists things up? Beyond, obviously, once you get into the main city, it doesn't get very tall. None of the buildings are too tall at this height, mainly because it's so blustery, so windy. Most of the buildings are built with the local porous stone, a warm reddish brown, filled with... And you can often see as you're walking along, you see in the actual brickwork, there's actually signs of fossilized, shells, because it's all mined from the cliff or from various other places nearby. At one point, to give you an idea, at one point the city abuts a ravine that drops straight down to the sea, and there's a massive stone bridge that spans this ravine that essentially splits the city in two. That spans a 350-foot ravine. And another third of the city is seated row upon row on the other side. So, you've got this ravine, layers of it going up the cliffside, same on the other side, and then atop. So you can imagine that a lot of the workers are assigned lodgings close to where they're working, so they're actually they've got homesteads and cabins built into the cliff face. Anyone of really any importance in the military are going to be based in barracks or in good buildings, or obviously merchants are going to be in proper warehouses and so forth on top of the cliff face, at the top.
So what I'm hearing is we're going to need to throw someone off that bridge to 350 drop.
Yeah. You've got to be careful.
That's my takeaway.
Yeah, you've got to be careful. There's lots of myriad of rickety stairs. There's mechanical elevators. There's some people that operate independent elevator systems, which are basically a gobber with a winch and a very rickety kind of what could only be described as a small plank of wood to sit on as it's being
minicab equivalent.
I like to live.
But yeah, you've been told to obviously keep a low profile because it's unknown. There's this, given what occurred in Corvus, there are suspicions that also whoever was working with that, or who those the necromancer was working for, or knew of, or where that item came from, plus what Bowden has been rumoured to be up to, involving some dark arts and Orgoth rituals, apparently, that have been stolen, that there might be other people involved, cultists, Thamarites, necromancers, agents of Crix, or worse. So yes,
or worse.
Oh, yeah, there's infernalists. So yes, you arrive as the sun is setting, and you can see it in the distance on the horizon of the ocean, and you can hear the cry of seagulls and various other ocean-going birds. There's the wailing of steam horns, of steam whistles to signal the end of the day's work, and various workers are already getting quite drunk and loutish when you arrive.
All right. So as I understand it, we want to be blended in. So, Zacharias, why don't you look at finding fancy lodgings,
Right.
and I'll look at finding the local criminal element.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can do that. I mean, if you want me to blend in, I could always change into something a bit more local.
I mean, I'm inclined to say yes. However, the last time you changed into something a bit more local, you sort of forgot to change back again. Really, when it would have been useful.
Listen, we were in a rush. There were Thamarites everywhere. We had to do something. I found a burlap sack. That's what we went with.
All right.
So
All I'm
we're
saying
we're
is
not in a rush right now. Okay,
we
I
know
can
we
get into a
can't
good
stay.
disguise.
At the church's housings. Otherwise, we'll never blend in. But if you find us some fancy lodging, we'll look as if we're, higher paid criminals or merchants, which are effectively the same thing anyway. And I can go find where the local louts are and get the lay of the land. Or someone who's a bit better at talking can get a lay of the land. Well, else I'll punch some faces in.
That's all good. I could certainly appreciate somewhere to just sit down for a little while and go over the intelligence we've gathered thus far, at least.
Not a bad choice.
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, I can go find the lodgings. Fraggot, Allender, why don't you two go find the local element? You handle that, and I think it'll be good.
Well,
Right then.
yes.
I'm going to call you Mr. Finch, if anyone asks. And I'll be your bodyguard. You're going to be the brains of the intelligence.
Works for me.
I thought so too.
Great. Okay, so
Hurrah! I think we're about to receive our
okay,
final party
let's
member.
update our overlay. Hold on, let me just delete that.
Ah, yes, it is he.
I don't want to delete the
Hello.
overlay. I don't want to do that. I want to delete. Let's delete that one.
Yes, we realised when it got to 8 p.m. that we hadn't reminded you about the clocks changing.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I apologize. I was like, yeah, it starts at 4 my time.
Yeah, it's an odd thing where US and UK hour changes are slightly off by a couple of weeks from one another for some reason. So.
Yeah. I'm just resizing things a little.
But you haven't missed much. It's all good.
Is my camera working or?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, yeah, because it looks weirdly warped on mine. But sorry about that.
So yeah, we're just saying, for what you've missed, you've arrived in Highgate. You took a train from Corvus down south. You got to the one of the Great Lakes there, and then took a paddle barge all the way down to Highgate. And of course, Highgate is this insane city on the cliffs with ships hoisted out of the ocean on winches, and basically it's this city that's built into the cliff face itself and on top of it, and everyone's trying to basically integrate themselves into the local life to get any clues on this Bowden fellow.
Yeah. So Bragg and Finch are going to talk to the local element, and I am going to go find us some fancy lodging.
So it's
So
yeah, the
you
full
can,
name of the
join
person is
whichever group you
Bowden
want.
Heightley.
Bowden
Heightley.
Heightley, okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to do then, Kato? You joining us, or are you going to go find some decent lodgings with Zach?
I think for now I'm going to go and look for some lodgings, and then kind of put my ear to the ground there.
Good call.
Okay, so those of you looking for some decent lodgings, and it doesn't take you too long to find some well-to-do establishment. The building is also braced with metal, with kind of, in order to make it more resilient, because obviously the city of Highgate is a target to various raiders, in particular Cricks. And within, obviously, are a plethora of various military. There's military officers who are taking a bit of time to have a drink after a hard day's work, or there are merchants and various people who are well-to-do. And obviously some mercenaries and sailors and sea dogs, that type of thing. It's rather jovial in there. There's someone's playing an accordion in the corner. There's various games of cards going on, and plenty of beer is flowing, and it's well kept, at least.
Okay, fair enough. So of course we'll get a room, I guess 2 rooms for the group, and gonna look around for someone who might be in the know about like fencing goods or finding more diabolical collectibles and the like.
Okay.
Anyone like that might be in here.
Yeah. I'm going to just hash out my plan with you before we go in.
Okay, sure.
I'm going to sit in like a corner table, and it's going to be pretty clear that I'm wearing like an Ordic greatcoat. And so I'm just going to be like, I'm like a freelance mercenary for hire looking for a job. So I'm going to sit down and just kind of like, I forget how it works in WoW, the little exclamation point above my head. Just kind of sit down there, and I'm going to hope that we'll, like, if somebody's hiring muscle, because they might be for this, maybe they'll come our way. And if not, if this adventure doesn't work out, I'll find us other gainful employment.
If you get hired to go on some epic quest, without us, we'll never see you again.
These guys have a ring,
so the guns are visible.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely advertising that I'm a gun mage, which hopefully won't end up in a Wild West situation.
There can only be one gun mage around here.
What happened to Kato? Shot dead.
So
walked through the door, the bullet came on after him.
So Mike, you need to do a social roll of some sort. Let's see. I'm trying to find what would be appropriate to roll. Ooh, let's see. There's so many different skills, and I can never work out which one's going to be best for chatting to people. Let's see. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be
May
that.
I recommend etiquette?
Yes, it will be. Yeah, etiquette.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, because this is reasonably decent society here as well.
Yeah,
it's not
formal.
like complete scum.
Yeah, I would say you're at a difficulty of about 12. So 2d6 plus your etiquette level.
Sure. What social stat will I use? I think this is the first social roll we're doing in
Yeah,
Iron
it
Kingdoms,
is indeed.
correct?
I think.
Well, apart from intimidation from Fragget.
I think you should be using. I think mostly poise makes sense.
Poise. Interesting. Okay.
Because
All
it's
right.
how you hold yourself. Poise is about holding yourself and posture in some respects.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll roll with it. Yeah, so for viewers that aren't familiar with Iron Kingdoms, there is no social stat in the game. Instead, social skills, when you're in the situation, you'll just figure out which of the other skills, like physical skills, agility skills, intelligence skills, stats, I should say, intelligence stats, is most applicable, and you use that for the roll. So we're going with poise this time.
The toddlers have stolen my dice, so I'll be right back when I have found some dice again.
Fair enough. Well, I got an 11, so that's not good enough.
Okay.
You can always re-roll.
Nah.
Yeah, remember everyone's got was it 2 feet points? You start off with 2 feet points, I think. Or no, you start off with
Right.
3 feet points. Okay then, Mike. Yeah, you fail by a little bit. Okay, as you're conversing
Hold on.
with
Hold on.
the
Hold on. I actually have a feat.
and Mike's just gone mute.
Mike, you
Yeah, you
muted
suddenly
yourself
muted.
in saying that.
Okay, sorry. This push to talk is a bit janky. So I actually have a feat, which will apply. I think will apply to the situation. Privilege will give me +2 to social roles if I'm respected. Oh, and I can actually re-roll etiquette with good breeding as well.
All
Should have
right, well
checked
there you
those
go.
beforehand. So I can re-roll, and I might get a plus. I got a 12 anyway, so I think we're good.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, you find some well-to-do uh, lady who is wearing what looks like a combination, looks like ex-military, more than likely a mercenary captain, and her hair is tied back. The colors of her clothing, though, is what attracts you to her, because there's clearly an element of the Laelese military to her. Also, she has quite reddish hair, so there's kind of like you get the sense that she's mostly from one of the families, the lower families in Lael, who often make their way into the military.
Superb, superb. So I will stroll up and take a seat next to her and say, "Well, good evening, ma'am. It's very nice to see a fellow from Lael here, a compatriot, or perhaps patriot here. Um, I was hoping you might be able to help me out a little bit. I'm new to this town and have a few questions."
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Captain. I always need to come up with a name now for someone. I'm Captain Rosalind.
Oh, Captain
Uh,
Rosalind. Well, I am Lord Zacharias Zinfandel.
oh,
A
my
pleasure.
lord. A pleasure to meet you. You are clearly far from our homelands.
Yes, yes. Well, yeah, the needs of the country take me far abroad.
And she
And
happily drops into Laelese as well, which
ah,
begins to basically sound like a conversation in Italian and French going on.
yes, yes, certainly.
I'd
Yes, I
say
was
this is going to
hoping.
be hilarious if Zacharias doesn't speak clearly.
Fortunately, he does. He does. He's got a couple languages actually, which could come in handy in the future. But yeah, Zacharias will oh, just be casual and direct. Yeah. So I'm new to town, and I was wondering perhaps if, well, first off, have you ever heard of a individual named Bowden, perchance? Bowden, I should say.
She
Bowden.
shakes her head as she pours a
Mm.
fresh glass of wine, and also gets the barman to grab a clean wine glass for you. It's
Oh, thank you.
clearly a Laelese vintage that she's been getting shipped in.
Excellent. Well, classy Merc. All right. Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Yes. So, asking you quite directly, do you know of anyone that may deal in artifacts of a questionable nature? Um, Everything is above board with me and my compatriots. However, we're trying to locate an individual that may be trafficking in dangerous goods
I've never
of a
heard of such a.
magical or magic tech fashion.
I've never heard of anyone of that kind recently in these parts. I mean, a lot of military gear moves through Highgate, and of course, where my company is often hired to act as protection. The Signaran forces are stretched as it is, but I've never heard
Indeed.
of anything in particular like this.
Nothing, no rumors of anything Crixian, perhaps? It's not too far away from here.
That would certainly rouse suspicions if we saw something like that.
Indeed, it would.
The only issue we've been having of late around here is there's been a string of attacks by bandits on local villages outside of Highgate.
Bandits.
I say bandits, but they seem to leave. Well, I say bandits. There are no survivors of any of these attacks. They seem to strike, take what they want, and kill everyone else. I mean, the reason we think it's bandits is because they leave bodies behind. If this was obviously the works of the forces of Crix, then the bodies would not even be left behind.
Dreadful. What a dreadful and unfortunate empire that we are so close to. Commander Rosalind, that's very interesting information there. And of course, we'll take a look at it. I was just curious about what strength is your mercenary company? How many troops?
There is within our company. We have myself as captain of the entire group and of the main infantry. We have roughly about 50 or so men-at-arms. We have a small contingent of handgunners.
Very good.
And we have a warcaster who I command, who has controls. At least, well, one is being fixed currently. So we have 3 warjacks in our command.
Impressive, very impressive. Well, we don't have any need at this moment for your company, but it's good to know. And if I hear of any contracts coming up, or if
indeed,
my compatriots need you, I'll clearly keep in mind. What was the name of your mercenary company?
The mercenary company is the Iron Boar.
Very strong name. I'm impressed.
Everyone makes jokes about the Pharaoh with us, but
yes, they are.
There's just simple pigs
a strange
compared
species.
to a true boar.
Very good. Well, thank you for the wine and thank you for the information. I greatly
by all
appreciate
means,
it.
take the rest of the bottle. I've had my fill, and I must. I have 1 or 2 of my men to discipline before tomorrow. They've been a little bit too unruly. They've been we've been lacking in work while we've been waiting for our warjack to be repaired, you see.
Understood. Yes, those mechanics need to just work faster. But
well, it's a case often of simply finding the parts. Anyway, it's been a pleasure meeting you, my lord.
Yes, absolutely.
I hope we cross paths again soon.
I hope so too.
And she's gonna head off.
Great. And Zacharias will go over to Kato with the remnants of the bottle of wine and just share all that information.
But before that happens, Kato, who's been waiting there, a rather drunk naval officer of some form. He's got a bit of what looks like a little bit of dried vomit down his jacket lapel, and his beard is a bit it's not well kept. Stumbles over to you and goes, "Audit, aren't you? Bloody Audit Navy. What do you think you're doing here? We don't need your kind here. Why don't you just piss off?"
Nah, I think I'm gonna sit here and enjoy my drink.
Enjoy your drink, and he just knocks your tankard out of the way. "I told you to piss off. We don't need your kind here."
My kind? What kind are you referring to? As I slowly stand up, and with that, the jacket opens up, and you see my belt.
Excellent. Do you want to try and make an intimidation roll?
I do. I don't think I'm going to be that great at it, but I do. I am not that great at it, so let's hope for a lot of luck.
let's see, which stat are we going to use for this? We can use your let's think. We can use your firearms skill as the basis of your intimidation. So,
Okay.
yeah, I think that makes sense.
All right,
You
so
mean,
that's 7.
Whichever,
Right.
whatever the skill is for firearms again. Is it not?
Poison.
Remember, you can, if you want to, it may not be relevant. You can spend a feat point to boost a non-combat skill as well. A
Yeah.
non-combat use of a skill. If you
No.
really want to scare this guy.
This seems like the scene where I'm kind of trying to impress the room and also not derail the adventure into Kato's unfortunate gunfight. So I'm going to do that. All right. So I just used the skill, not the attribute with the skill, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, it's yeah. So you just use the it'll be the attribute with the skill. So it's the pistol skill total.
Okay, so that'll be a 7 for me.
Yeah.
Plus, come on, let's go big, go big, go big. 15.
Nice.
Excellent. Yeah, that's more than enough. Yeah, the drunk naval officer looks at your mage lock pistol and eyes go wide, realizing that you're not just some Ordic, sea dog. You're actually, a gun mage, and he was about to go reach for some, like, I don't know, maybe a dagger, maybe it was a pistol, and decides not to. Clearly a mistake, sir. I'll leave you to. I'll be out of your way soon enough. No need to cause a commotion here.
And with that, I just kind of put a thumb underneath the brim of my hat and thumb it up a little bit, and then I'm just going to sit back down with my drink.
Is your hat a tricorn hat, or is it what kind of hat do you wear again?
Oh man, I really want it to be like an Indiana Jones style hat, but I don't know if that exists yet in this setting. So I guess we'll say tricorn.
Yeah, I think an Indiana Jones style hat does exist.
About
It doesn't.
200 years.
Oh no,
too
they
early.
do it. They do exist. You do kind of get kind of cowboy like fashions as well in the Iron Kingdom. So it's kind of there. So
Yeah.
you could have that type of hat, but a tricorn's also really cool, or a bicorn's even cooler in some respects.
Yeah, that would be
I
good.
say he's a Navy man. It's got to be a bicorn.
Okay.
Tiny Napoleon.
I'll make it. I'll
Just
make
a Napoleon.
it a tricorn then, just under the.
Yeah.
That doesn't look as cool. That looks like I might. Oh well, we'll do it. Yeah. So
You're
thumb
like
up,
a badass version of Hornblower, basically.
pretty much.
Yeah. And of course, the drunkard stumbles past Zacharias as you are walking over to Cato. You've just seen this exchange.
Oh, well, that's Cato for you. Cato, hey, how's it going? Here, have some wine. It's Lealese. Much better than any of that Ordish vintage.
I bite back the urge to stand up and open my coat again, but oh, thank you, my lord. Thank you for this generous drink I'm about to have.
Yes, well, I thought it was quite good. So, Zacharias will inform Cato of everything he learned, which was not a whole lot. We just have a contact with a mercenary company now. Could come in handy sometime. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, those bandits attacking outside.
That's
Possibly unrelated.
Is that something that we might want to look into?
I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, clearly, up in Corvus, these individuals were working with gangs and the like. So it's quite possible that this Bowden character might be working with bandits down here as well. Or it could be just a red herring, if you will. We'll have to see what Fraggot Bragg and Allender Finch come up with.
Yeah.
I think it's too soon for us to assume the bandits might be involved, but if we find any more leads, then we'll definitely check them out. I've made a not friend with that drunk over there, and that's pretty much it. Haven't really uncovered much on my end.
Yes, well, you know what they say about the Signar Navy. Yeah.
They
Did I,
might have left
Kato, did I
him-
ever tell you, Kato, that my father is admiral of the Lealese Navy?
Aren't you a landlocked country?
Well, we have our river navy of 3 barges. He's the admiral.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
Um,
We've been bulking up the force lately, and
The River
with the
Navy.
with the Kador aggressions, it's really quite important. It's a very critical position at the Lealese court.
Oh, so he doesn't spend a whole lot of time standing around playing with dinghies then. So he's just, playing, he's got the 3 barges.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. We're thinking about commissioning a 4th.
A 4th?
Yes.
Oh, they should name it after your father.
Really
For
pushing
the-
the boat out there.
Oh no, he's already got the 3rd one named after him.
See, you laugh about the idea of that there's a river navy. The fact is, though, the Dragon's Tongue River, which goes all the way through Five Fingers and Corvus, is like pretty large. It's like we're talking Danube kind of scale here. So the idea there is a Lealese kind of navy of sorts is kind of half true.
Not too far off, but I think Kato's having one of those days where it's like, oh, and I'm getting lectured to by the guy in charge of 3 barges.
Yeah. Meanwhile, though, Fraggot and Finch, what are you up to? Where are you?
Right.
Well, we're right next to the port, aren't we? Or the equivalent of the port, whatever they call it, the winchings or whatever.
A lot of ships pass through here, and we want to look for the equivalent of the people dealing in things that fell off the back of the wagon.
Exactly.
Okay.
Specifically, Vaughn was an alchemist, so it's likely whatever they're dealing with, looking for alchemy that's fallen off the back of a wagon. Chris, did you say that this port's got quite a lot of military stuff going through it?
Oh
as
yeah,
well?
lots.
Okay, so it's actually quite a good. If you want to be dabbling in stuff on the side, there is potentially a lot of stuff sloshing around that's military surplus and things.
Well, not just military surplus, but military
surplus.
goes with it all
Yeah.
the time, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so what we want to be finding then is someone who specialises in deck thieving.
Yeah, and particularly matters at alchemical, because not only Vaughn had them, but the people who attacked the thralls had alchemical tools given to them as well. So I think that is probably what we want to sniff around for.
It could be that they were from an alchemist, or it could be that they just nicked military munitions.
It is possible, but again, I think we can look for both and sort of focus things down if we get the option.
All right. Well, in that situation, then, Mr. Finch, what we want to be finding is the filthiest rat bolt hole we can.
And you can roll a
Streetwise?
Streetwise, yeah.
I will probably leave that to Fraggot to do the rolling on Streetwise. Finch is not like a naive ingenue or something. He's happy dealing with the darker side of the city, but Bragg's just gonna be better at it. So let him lead.
I took this skill when we leveled up.
Oh, nice. Well, good job then. Then Finch's blind trust in you is well placed.
So that's a 12. Oh no, 5 plus that's a 14.
A 14, okay.
I don't know. Obviously, each city is often differently, but typically places that are reputable with the illegal classes tend to have some markings on the sign or above the door. And whilst I might not be able to read them because they'll be, localized, I'll be looking for them, sort of thing.
Oh yeah. You know what to do, and you have to take a few rickety staircases down a few levels on the actual cliff face until you get to what was clearly a place where they had excavated, basically where they carved out a lot of stone for the buildings above, and is a warehouse, or would have been a warehouse. And with a few coin here and there and saying the right things, you're let into a rather dank and dark chamber, which is basically a small market, but it is all, back of the wagon kind of dealings. It's all stuff that people are selling quickly. They want to make as much money for it without too many questions. There are various things there. There are, questionable cigars that maybe they're not Audic cigars. Maybe they're actually Signarin cigars masquerading as Audic cigars.
Cigars, you say?
There is whiskey that's mostly being watered down with plenty of ethanol, and would make you go blind unless you were a Trollkin.
Yeah, I'd say that is
that's water.
That is a traditional drink for children. That is.
There's clearly someone selling something that really shouldn't be sold in these parts, which is because they're trying to sell it and not pay taxes on it, which is Kadoran vodka. And then there's obviously various other illegal items, weaponry, arms, alchemical reagents, which would be again subject to taxes by the Golden Crucible. There's also snorting and oink growling in the corner and having it translated for him is a pharaoh and his human business partner, who are dealing in various cuts of meat that you've never seen before.
Oh.
And some of those are probably from Pharaoh.
Yeah, some of them are from Pharaoh.
Mark me.
Well, I know
there's a smell of
Fraggot
sizzling pig in the air.
Fraggot was looking for some of the local symbols of like whatever the crime and stuff. I'm looking as well out for any Thamorite symbols, any Telgesh runes around the place. I'm not really expecting to see them around the place, but if there are, I'll keep open.
You spotted some that lead you to this market. This market is at least kind of like a bit of an illegal kind of wet market of sorts.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
obviously there's a lot of fish as well, which is surplus fish that would normally be thrown away and is stinking to high heaven.
Yeah, so I'll keep an eye out for any more Telgesh runes, any Thamorite stuff that might indicate anyone here is on the sly one, just in case. But I think the first plan will be to kind of we should do a circuit, maybe pick up a thing or two to make it clear that we are here to purchase. I rather fancy some of that vodka, and then maybe home in on some of the people with the hardware, or especially the alchemical hardware, but any of the hardware, and start asking some questions.
I think as you walk around, I think it's more than likely Fraggot's going to end up with the equivalent of a hot dog and a jug of vodka.
I was going to say, before you specified what that butcher actually was, I was like, I'm going to fight that pig before I leave. And now I'm like, oh, but he's only a butcher. I don't want to fight that pig no more. I respect my butchers. No, he's got a cigar in like one hand, and in the other massive hand he's got some of the ethanol whiskey, and the equivalent of like hot street meats, sort of like carrying it. Like this is Fraggot's people. These.
Oh yeah, there's a gobber who is the gobber is the one that's selling the Audic cigars. They're clearly not. They're cut with something else, and he's just like, yeah. So how much do you want for these? I give you 2 boxes for 10 gold crown.
10 gold crown.
For 2 boxes, 10 gold crown. 2 is he loses count, but you think there's maybe about like 20 cigars in there.
That's actually not a bad price. Like even for knockoff cigars, that's.
Depends how bad the cigars are.
You can smell them, and there's something about them. There's something really like they've not been treated quite right.
Any Trollkin?
Any what?
Trollkin cigars, No,
don't deal with Trollkin. No.
Alright, no, just be rude about it.
I'm not being rude.
I'll take 1 box, which will be 3, won't it?
3 gold crown for 1 box.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, well, 10 gold crown, 2 boxes. Final offer. You're wasting my time. I've got children to feed.
Well, I mean, there's a butcher over there.
Yeah, but I don't eat that stuff. It give you the runs.
Well, I just meant to sell the children to, but sure, yeah. 2 boxes.
I don't eat my own children. That's what the pharaoh do.
I know.
If I wanted to sell my children to someone, I'd sell them to the gator men. At least they...
Yeah, the gator men in town.
No, there are no gated men in town, but I know gated men. They live out. I know places where gated men are. They're very good. I get you. I get you a rather lovely ashtray made by Gator Man Bokor. It have lovely claws, good skin, good for putting out cigars in it. Nice ashtray.
Deal. What?
Okay, so 5 gold crown, box of cigars, and an ashtray. Let me just find ashtray. And he brings out this ashtray, which is basically made using the foot of a tuffalo, which is basically the bison
yes,
that they have.
Give me your foot cigars.
So fine ashtray, real fur, yeah.
We're gonna leave here with so much tat.
Is that a deal?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, no returns, and he points to a little thing that says that's been scribbled on in chalk that literally says no returns, but it's like the R is backwards and everything else.
What? And you seem to be a particularly clever man.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty clever. You notice he's wearing a bowler hat as well.
Yeah, he's also a gobber, which means he's a little cousin.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, where can a man go round here to be putting bets on beatings?
Oh. So tonight at I give you address. He looks around for a scrap of paper, and he basically finds. Hold on a minute. He goes over to the Pharaoh butcher, pays a few coins, comes back with what looks like some sort of gizzard or something, squirts it out onto the table, and then uses his finger to to write out the address. Go here, and you can bet on a match. The dwarves men, they punch each other until they pass out, and you can pay coin.
No. I'll do you one better there, little cousin. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go there, and I'm gonna fight, and you're gonna place a bet on Fragget Bragg, which is me. And
you're gonna win. Look at you. You're big. You size of 2 of my houses.
Yeah, but I'm gonna fight a couple of them at once.
Oh, rumble. Nice, very nice.
It's my gift to you, little cousin, for the fine ashtray. Right, Fragget Bragg.
Okay. How much do I put on you? What are the odds?
We'll find out when we're at the night. We'll see how much they want to give me.
I see about that.
Yeah. Well. I'm just saying,
good doing business for you. You there, sir. You want this? This is a fine piece of mechanica.
What? We've got some more information.
True.
Right then, Mr. Finch, you want to find alchemy, yeah?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Let's find ourselves a munitions store or equivalent.
So, Finch is going to be asking what type of questions to whom?
So basically, his plan is to go in and be. The initial session is, we're looking for stuff like this, and then, when you look over the contents of the store, and then say, suggest that we're looking for something a little bit harder. in the style of anything a bit more sophisticated that might be things entering the market that are free from concerns about where they came from, to try and pick up someone who try and find a lead to an alchemist who's selling stuff, or someone who's dealing in alchemy and armaments that isn't just front of the store in this market. The kind of person who maybe is dealing with something a bit more sophisticated, because we have needs that are a bit beyond some vials of acid or some canisters of like powder that have fallen off the back of a wagon. We need something more interesting
for a lot then.
Yeah, a significant shipment, and probably suggest it's something mechanical related as well, because alchemy tends to get used in that kind of stuff, like the batteries and power and things like that. And we don't know exactly what Vaughn had in that fucking crate, but everyone was shit scared of it. So it's not your bog standard, alchemical hijinks. It's something fucking weird. So specialists
we should have opened the box. We should have opened it.
Probably.
We shouldn't. I know we shouldn't. We all know we should not have opened that box.
You're asking around. I think you asking various people about the type of items you would need to perform similar type experiments to an alchemist on the down low. One person you says he would have happily sold you that sort of gear, but recently has run out, had a significant sale of various goods, and then another merchant also ran out of various reagents en masse, and also you realize that as you're looking around that there's also you hear conversation of that various goods have been brought in recently, and there's some talk of these bandits outside of Highgate, and no one's really willing to admit that's possibly where their goods have come from, but there's suspicions it is, and they don't know how long this is going to carry on for, because obviously it's getting to the point where these attacks are getting too notorious.
So is the suggestion there that we've got two prongs? One is that somebody probably quite specific is buying up a shitload of this stuff, and the other is that they're not then getting resupplies so easily because of the bandits, or are the bandits source of their supplies?
No, the bandits are there's been attacks by bandits, and that's where some goods have come in, like just general odds and sods.
Yeah,
but also goods have been sold a lot to various people recently. Which would fit the bill for what you're thinking as, doing some mechanical work or alchemy type work.
Okay, fish for names, even if just very vague pointers on the suggestion of they might have some. We might be able to deal with them if they have any spare, kind of thing.
The perhaps one name that you have got is, let me just think.
That wacky scamp, Joris Bonson.
Sorry, I'm just looking for some notes. Let's see. No. Okay, so the one name that you do hear related to some of these large sales is hold on, let me just find the actual is where is it? I'm trying to find a man called Solomon.
Okay. So I'll fish for any indications of where we might get into contact with Solomon. What I'm not going to do throughout all this is I'm not going to explicitly say, I'm not going to ask about Bowden Hightley explicitly, because I'm a bit worried that if we're poking around here and we say, oh, we're looking for Bowden Hightley, then he will know this fairly shortly afterwards. And we want to seem a bit more natural in terms of how we're coming in. So I'll ask about this Solomon, who we've been told about. and see if not necessarily a thing to do like right now, but just try and start picking up the links for like a future day, because we don't want to come on too strong either and be like the guys who are scouring the city one night out of nowhere.
That's in part why I'm going to this fight place, because one of the best places to meet members of the criminal class is always, illicit boxing and stuff like that, and there's always representatives there from other, factions that might, especially if they see muscle, might be able to, might be looking to hire.
Honestly, it might also be useful later down the line if people think of starting trouble with us, and they go, "No, don't, mate. They've got that trollkin, and we've seen what he can do."
So the name Solomon, the description you get is someone that was buying some various alchemical goods quietly, which seemed to be kind of the explosive type and appropriate metals.
Okay. I'm interested in that because we don't know what's in that box. Explosives is an angle it could have been. So try and get details we can, with the suggestion that I might try and look them up the following day, and then confer with Bragg and just say, well, let's just finish a circuit at this place, pick up anything we're interested in doing, see if there's anyone else, anything that catches our attention. Otherwise, then I think we're done here, and we can see if the others have got the lodging sorted, and then you can get ready for your little brawling excursion.
Yeah. Well, what I might also be able to do is, these cigars and all, they're lovely, but what's going to need to happen is I'm going to need to get some Trollkin herbs and stuff like that. So I'll have a reach out and see if I can find any of the local families, because Trollkin are always overlooked in terms of anything but muscle. And we gossip, which means if someone's been buying up a lot of heavy stuff, odds are there's some Trollkin that's been labouring and lifting it somewhere. Might be able to find out.
In particular, if it just connects to anything unusual alchemically as well, because there was that necromancer on a barge. That's not your usual delivery boy,
No.
They're up to something.
Something significant was going to be happening there, and we stumbled into it.
Yeah, it's why I don't think it's going to be just a bomb or whatever. It's going to be a bomb that eats people's souls or something stupid like that. People can't just do conventional warfare.
My thoughts on that were the pharaoh there. Crick, necromancer. The necromancer was there to act as a guarantee of receiving it. That was my thought. I figure that for whatever reason, he was the guarantee of getting this to Bowden.
You think Vaughan may have had second thoughts or something?
No, I think Vaughan was acting as a sort of third party. He wasn't invited to this. He stumbled into it, found out about it. For whatever Vaughan had going on, he found out about this deal with these people, whatever it was, and ended up getting access to it. That's my fault. Potentially, anyway. We'll find out, I'm sure.
Yeah. Right, so I think unless there's anything else that sort of catches our attention while we're heading out the black market, that'll be us done there.
Your vodka. Don't forget your vodka.
Yeah, no, Finch is keeping his drink is in a pocket somewhere in the greatcoat. And then I guess it's heading off to try and track down the other two and see if they haven't got themselves dead in some unfortunate way.
Good. Okay. So what are Kato and Zacharias up to?
So you're telling me that Ordish warships have 72 guns on them? Why do you need that many?
Because we have to shoot 72 targets at once. I don't know what kind of threats you face on the river, but in the ocean, we frequently have to fight a lot of pirates.
Touché, Kato. Touché. Oh, hey, there's Frigate Bragg and Highlander Finch.
We come bearing gifts.
Bonk.
Oh, What we got here?
You guys go to the farmer's market?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, look at this. Ordish cigars.
Oh,
I'm-
Zach, I would watch that. I bought them off a gobber. There's a smell to them that is particularly awful, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'm slightly concerned it might kill a human. So you might let me have a go at it first.
I'm fairly sure the vodka is safe.
I'm gonna light one of those cigars.
Oh no.
It's this terrible
Mike's
mistake.
respect of Kato shot right up then.
Every other bugger in the place. So, oh no.
Yeah. It's just gonna be a smash cut to the exterior of this lovely inn, and all these people running out as a cloud of smoke exits the front door.
Didn't die to a random drunk, but he's gonna die to a random cigar, just the way he wanted.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make a form of
He died the way
toughness
he lived.
roll against.
Just like the Vishtani woman said.
Let me
Oh, no.
find. Let me see. What would this be? The equivalent of.
It's gonna be something to do with physical, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be physical. Or it could be willpower to see how long you can puff the
How
cigar
much of a
for.
cigar he can smoke.
Give me a moment. I'm just trying to find the appropriate something that's going to be appropriate to simulate what this is kind of like.
I'd say it's kind of like firing a pistol again, so I should just be able to use my.
Yeah, I think
Ito just uses the pistol skill for everything now. Cleaning
you're
his
gonna
teeth,
have to. Yeah, you're gonna have
climbing.
to make a. Let's just say you're gonna have to make a willpower roll against difficulty 14.
Did you say 40?
14.
14.
Oh, 14.
1
Okay.
4.
What's your
40, I
bit-
thought, why even roll? Okay, I've got this. I have willpower of 8.
Hmm.
Got this. I've got this. I've got this. I'm probably not going to get this. Come on. Holy crap, I got it. 18.
Yeah, okay. It's because it's quite hallucinogenic, whatever it's
Oh my
been
God.
mixed in there, and you are barely keeping it together.
You didn't buy a cigar, mate. You bought some of his stash.
Oh, that smells quite acrid. Reminds me of the laboratories at Corvus University.
Yeah, that's where I used to get it too, from the laboratory.
The barman pipes up, "Oi, we'll have none of that smoking in here. None of that. We don't deal with that stuff in here. If you want to smoke that, take it outside."
Oh, my bad. Yeah, just kind of put out the cigar and, just feeling pretty good now about taking on the world. And
Frank got to lend him his cigar cutter to trim the end.
Right. Well, local prizes aside, you've obviously found us some very nice lodgings for the time being, Zach.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All well at this end of things.
I got harassed by a drunk guy, but other than that, it sounds like Zacharias got a pretty promising lead with the mercenary company.
Yeah, I got this mercenary commander's phone number, and yeah, we really hit it off. And she was mentioning that we're on the street. There's been some like bandit attacks in the outlying villages a little bit.
We've heard it at the other end. Some of the supplies, for some of the goods from that, have ended up in the black market. So whoever's hitting villages is then selling some of the goods on. I'm not sure whether we're seeing everything.
What do
that's
these
being
villages
taken.
have that you can sell in the black market?
Not an awful lot, generally. I mean, obviously there will be
Yeah.
some trinkets and treasures and personal odds and ends, and a certain amount of supplies. But I'm surprised someone is hitting villages near a militarily important city like this. To be honest, it does puzzle me. I'm sure there would be better targets.
There would be. And why isn't the city acted on this information?
Because
Maybe they can't
they're
find
not
them.
better targets.
That's true. I mean, with the pirate activity by the broken coast, clearly they're stretched pretty thin here.
Yes.
That's what the mercenary commander was saying as well. Interesting. Well, that could be something to look into.
Yes, we haven't dug into it at the other end to see more about it. We just heard that's where some of it's coming from. But the other thing we found is that somebody is certainly doing some suspicious Purchases. There's been a lot of basically everything you might want alchemy-wise has been vanishing off the market. Someone's doing big purchases. We've got a name. I don't know if it's the buyer or simply one of a few, but given the alchemy at the other end of this thread we've been pulling, it's certainly suspicious that it's being acquired in such large amounts right now. So we've got something to dig into there at least. We don't know what they're doing. We have his name Solomon. We don't know what he's. The implication is it might be bomb parts, but it's hard to tell from what limited information we have.
Excuse me? Did you say bomb parts?
Yes, bomb parts.
That's
I
not
mean,
good.
we're in a city full of military warships getting hoisted up a cliff. Presumably, they take the explosives off them before they hoist the ship up, because that would be very embarrassing if you dropped one full of black powder.
No, understood. I'm just saying, that's if there's a giant bomb being built.
Well, it's modern war. It's the warfare of the modern age, isn't it? It's
No,
all
I
shooting
understand.
people
I
and
understand.
exploding things now.
Cato and I were just having a very in-depth conversation about munitions usage in naval vessels. He's quite knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he served in the Navy, didn't you, Cato?
I did, the Ordic Navy.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you'll know all about bombs and shells and things like that. So
I know stuff too.
I'm
you
sure
know
you
who my
do.
dad is?
No.
Oh.
Didn't you
I
tell
thought- I
me
thought I-
he
I thought I
runs
told
a
you.
dinghy?
No. 3 barges, 3 of them.
Oh, I'm
The
sorry.
largest ones
a
in all of
train
Lale.
of dinghies.
Oh, they've got like fire ships. You know, you pile the barge with explosives and you sail it into the enemy line to detonate it.
What? No, our ships are precious. We would never do that.
I see why you're so worried about the idea of bombs now. Well, yes, it's possible the man is trying to build some kind of a bomb for a nefarious purpose. I mean, obviously he's trying to build a bomb for a nefarious purpose. It's possible he's trying to build a bomb to do some damage to people, but it might be he's simply building something for these bandits to use against hardened targets or like. We don't know the scope. We don't know the amount. We don't know whether he's building one massive bomb or he's trying to outfit a gang with explosives. You know, the two
It
are very
doesn't
different
have
propositions.
that feel to me, if I'm honest. That feels wrong. It doesn't align.
Yeah.
Well,
it,
yes.
It feels like we had this horrible box come into this city to get sold to this man. And now all the other options for death and destruction on a massive scale are suddenly bought up. I mean, I know, you know, causation ain't correlation, but
Finch looks slightly surprised that you know that concept.
well, I deliberately got it the wrong way round. So
Yes.
To be honest, it sounds like someone's just trying to make a general mess of things so that people are
Yeah.
going to focus on.
It would have
A big
helped
army.
if Father Dumas would have given us any clues what was in that box, because we'd know what they might have been aiming for. But
That
as
would
it is,
never
we
gonna
have to work
happen.
blind.
that were never going to happen, was it?
You know how
My-
those.
My concern about all this is that right now it feels like there's something bigger going on that we're grabbing the edges of, and we're not seeing what's in the center. You know,
Yes.
we've got this artifact washing up on our shores. We've got this mysterious buyer of alchemical and bomb materials. We've got bandits raiding villages rather than the shipping lanes when this city is understaffed anyway. You know, like something is going on.
Well, the way I see it, Solomon is either involved in what we're really interested in which case we should pull the thread and find out more, or he's not, in which case it will be a bit of a waste of time. But on the other hand, the man is in the market in general, and he
Yeah.
might be able to point us in the right direction.
Well, it'll be a connection if he's not directly involved.
I'd like a more direct route to Mr. Heightley, but I don't think we're going to get it. Unless your application of fist to people's faces later this evening throws out anything interesting.
Well,
What's going on this evening?
oh, I mean, I figured it would be a good idea to ingratiate myself in the local colour by entering into a bare knuckle boxing fight this evening.
You're gonna do what?
He's
Beat
going to
the
fight
snot
people in a
out
ring.
of the locals.
Well, how's
until
that gonna
they
get us
make you
information?
one of them. So,
Just
one of the things that happens
punching
in the...
dudes, just punching another trollkin isn't gonna do us anything.
Oh no,
Depends
no,
how
it's
hard you
mostly
punch them,
humans
surely.
and dwarves. And also, how a lot of gangs work is that when someone new comes into the city, they get noticed, especially if that person is a 7.5 foot tall and 400-pound trollkin. And when the opportunity to engage with that person happens, i.e., at a bare knuckle boxing fight, that tends to be where the approach is made. And
I
if
see what
we
you're
want
saying.
an in, look, I'm not very good at delicately handling investigations. I can admit my limitations. I'm a man who knows his faults.
Yes.
But what I can do is work my way into some of these people's good graces to get closer to whoever this Solomon is, whatever these bandits are going on. Because if there's bandits out there, the right people in here will be getting worried or know something about it.
We know some of the goods are coming in here anyway. The bandits have contacts in the city.
Indeed. Well,
A
rather indirect plan.
military captain strides over to you, who was waiting outside of the pub, the inn, smoking a cigarette. They're clean shaven, blonde hair, bearing the colours of Signar. Their armour is again more suited for seagoing kind of activities. I couldn't mistake the sound of a. Were you speaking of the local banditry that's been going on recently? It's been a right bloody problem. And I'm in the market for some fellows who might be able to deal with it in a delicate manner. You see, we've tried mercenary companies. They're just too noisy, what with their warjacks and everything. People, by the time you get there, they're gone. And all we find is the dead and dying. You're in for a bit of work? I can pay. I'm at liberty to pay you 500 gold crowns.
Okay, hold on. We recently.
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you?
Oh, sorry,
We recently had some trouble with a certain Signarin town guard trying to hire us. We're going to
I am
see some
no town
identification.
guard. I am Captain Evelyn Finian of the Highgate First Company.
Your name's Evelyn.
Yes, and your problem with that is, sir, it is Evelyn. Evlin, Evelyn, not Evelyn. Though I guess it could be murdered that way by the Trollkin tongue. So what say you? You've been talking about these bandits and you were interested in them. I don't know why you're here in particular, but I can pay you to perhaps deal with the work which my men are seemingly incapable of solving.
I must ask you, because this is not a trick question. It may be that your knowledge of the situation is enough to make this give you a good answer to this. What makes you think that 4 folks at a tavern, while Fraggot Bragg here is particularly impressive looking, that we would be a solution to your bandit problem?
Well, the thing is, I think that the problem is that the bandits, where how they hit who they target. If I was to send in any group of clearly military or mercenary company, it would be showing our hand too easily. And the bandits have their eyes and ears here and there. I think the fact that you are travellers of sorts, you're certainly not local. I can certainly hear that from this gentleman, points at Zacharias, from the way this gentleman here speaks, and no offence to our Ordic friend here, but you're certainly not a local. And I think by the looks of you, good sir, you have the sort of keen mind that might be better at tracking down these hoodlums than, I care to say, my own officers would be able to do.
I'm pleased with your high opinion of us, sir, from your impressions.
I'm also quite desperate at this moment. It's been going on for weeks,
Yes, I can
and I
tell.
have coin to spend.
Chris, have I heard of this guy before? Because
No.
I'm ex-military.
You've not.
Never
you've
heard
not,
of him.
No, you've not. You've mainly been based in Corvus and to the north.
Which is the other end of the country, basically, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
It took you a good, I guess about a week's travel to get to Highgate. On or
okay.
off.
On a train as well.
On a
yeah.
on a
Yeah.
train and then on a boat.
Yeah,
I've just
I
got a-
was mistaking the distance we had travelled.
Oh no, you've travelled
Yeah, it's,
pretty.
it's hard to get to 2 points that in Signal that are further apart from each other.
Yeah, like I think the distance from like travel wise, the distance is God. Let me find a map and put it into context. Where's the map of Signal that I've got here?
I just have
Okay.
this guy's with the guy coming in offering us. I have this image of him having come to other random groups in this pub the last few weeks, all of whom are now dead. A bunch of accountants who were there, 3 merchants and their mate. A couple of aristocrats out for a good evening out, and ended up having to get sent off to fight these bandits by themselves.
Yeah,
Why won't my plans work?
You've basically travelled the equivalent of about almost 600 miles.
Yeah, far out. Well, Captain, we're gonna need a contract before we go out. As I mentioned, we had some issues with others recently, and we just want to make sure that we're protected under Signal law.
Yes, indeed. We can head to the local barracks. I can draw up the contract that we do for other mercenary companies. You would have all the same privileges as them. Salvage rights for any equipment possessions that you recover are yours. And obviously, given the nature of this, and clearly, I want this these bandits or whoever they are to be dealt with sufficiently and quickly. I think we can agree you can use any means necessary, obviously without harming locals.
I have another question for you. Do you have any other information on like the disposition of our opponents? Just like it seems like if they've been pretty strong and resistant thus far, they
Yes,
might
so-
have like a lot of hardware.
I think Kate has a point. How about I pour you some of this Cadoran vodka, and before we do any contracts
Cadoran
being
vodka?
signed, and you
Oh.
sit down with us and you
think-
answer some of Cato's questions about their disposition, the military matters.
I think it would be wise maybe to drink this vodka somewhere else where it won't arouse suspicions, and I think that might be best back at the barracks. In my office.
time
That's
is
fair.
it?
That's fair.
It's obviously it's late. It's now the sun's gone down, so
Yeah, but like so it's
it's
sort
equivalent of like 8
8
p.m., 9 p.m. Yeah,
Okay, so got
because
got
it
a
is
couple of hours,
early spring. Yeah.
couple of hours. Yeah. Okay.
Fine then. Yes. Let's retire to your office then, sir.
So, he's able to put together a contract and is seemingly all above board. There is some clerk who runs you through it, that it's a standard contract for Highgate, allowing you to commit yourself in any actions so long as you don't put the military and people of Signar in danger. You can do what's required in this one action, and the flat fee of 500 gold crowns. As for the disposition of the actual bandits, he's thinking that it could be they seemingly must be well armed with and equipped, because they do take bodies. They kill
Well,
people, but they have.
excuse me,
But
they-
not everybody. Not every villager has been recovered. It seems so. There've
be-
been one or two notable people have been missing.
They might be
Who-
taking hostages or kidnapping as well. Then.
Yeah.
Or
is there
recruiting
a
them
practice of
forcibly.
slavery in Signar? And
Slavery? No.
No. So
But they
these
might
people
be
wouldn't-
taking slaves to sell.
Well, but that's what I'm at. Could they be taking slaves, i.e.,
Possibly.
to sell elsewhere?
And
to Cricks would be the obvious one.
numbers wise, he's thinking that given how rapidly they're moving around, they can't number more than a dozen.
So it really is a very small. I can understand why they can't pin them down with larger forces. We're talking about a very small group.
Yeah.
hitting
Because it's the
villages
same
here.
reason you can't fight guerrillas with a full-fledged army.
Still, taking out a whole village so efficiently, repeatedly indicates they're probably very capable at what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Because
yeah, they're
not
probably,
like leaving them
probably
behind as
ex-military or deserters or something like that.
yeah, something like that.
12 men against peasants, if they're armed.
Well, it's not the
that's-
winning; it's more just the missing people who have hidden under the floorboards, kind of thing. Someone who was out at the time. They've obviously
as
got
in-
planned
as in-
really well
yeah,
to do a full sweep.
Completely wiping out villages.
The-
yeah.
The last time that anything had been heard or spotted is actually some distance away, almost. Let's see, distance-wise, it's going to be about. The last sighting was that he knows of is actually quite far south of a watchtower called South Shield, and somewhere in that region of South Shield, and that is along the coastline and is about 100 miles away.
Good God.
Oof! Wow.
100
Okay,
miles. Wow.
so they're doing quite a long section of coastline there. They're
Yeah.
hitting villages then.
Captain, could we requisition some horses so that we can get around faster?
Can any of you ride horses? Is the question.
Sure. I'm sure I learned. I mean, I'm not like super skilled.
Does
At
everyone
all.
have the riding ability, or do you need to have something more like a carriage?
Carriage would be
Yeah.
great.
Carriage would be great because they will hit a carriage.
Yeah,
Also,
he
the
can.
last one.
He will dock 100 gold crowns off your pay for a carriage that he assumes that you're going to bring back. So you've put that. He's basically taken a deposit from you.
Well, wait.
So
If
bring
we
it back,
bring
get money back.
Then why do we have to pay 100 for it?
Well, because you'll get the whole 100 gold crowns back once you bring the carriage back.
Yeah, so it's like loaning
It's
a
just a-
vehicle
it's just
out.
a nice-
It's
just-
a train,
just-
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
The,
that's fair.
100
I
miles
will-
away was the last hit, but has there been like a chain, as in they've hit this village and this village and this village, i.e. working out like west? Or
There doesn't
has
seem
it
to
been
be
more
any
random?
particular pattern. No, just clustered up and down the coastline between Highgate and Mercia to the south.
Okay, so we know that at some point they must be coming back this way,
Yeah.
either to sell or they're selling to someone else out there who's bringing it into the city. So odds are we either need to find a nearby minor port within that 100 miles, or we need to find out how else they're getting their goods into the city, because a bunch of bandits probably aren't going to pass muster with the port guard.
Mm. One small matter I'll mention to my comrades as small, not putting a hole in the plan at all. Is this is quite a significant amount of journeying outside the city we have come to in the task we're performing for the church.
Well, the hope is that it's
The hope is
connected.
this ties into it somehow. If it
Yeah.
isn't, we have to weigh up the fact we're taking a risk with our time.
100 miles, that's what, 2 days in a carriage, isn't it?
Yes. So we're looking at spending the better part of a week, which isn't necessarily too much. Spending the better part of a week doing this, especially because we've turned up now, and if we go again and come back, it actually helps build our presence a little bit without it being too intensely packed into a couple of days. But it is a risk.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think this might be pretty relevant to our other job. It's just a hunch I have.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Kind of give you like a knowing wink, like, like I'll say more later.
Well, then, it sounds like we have something of an accord, Captain Newton. I suppose, is there anything else you feel we should know before you send us off to our
I think
deaths?
that is all that is required for now. I would suggest that you at least get some sleep before you travel. It's going to take you. It's going to be rough traveling along the coastline. There are a few well-traveled roads that way. We can only hope that the bandits see you as good spoils to attack along your way, and that you draw them out.
Oh, I think we won't have too much trouble getting them to attack us, especially since we have, how should I say it nicely, our Lord Zinfandel over here.
Ah, yes.
I don't like where this is going.
No, it's fine. We're just going to use you as bait and try to get them to attack the wagon to get you.
I mean, I'm not like. I mean, my father's important, but I'm just a baron,
Your father runs the ladies' navy. You said.
And you said
it's incredibly important.
Barons are important. What is
I'm not as important as a duke.
And with that, I think we can go to a break for the next. We'll have a break for about 15 minutes. So we'll be back in a quarter of an hour. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back with the rest of this part of Iron Kingdoms. And we're back. So, yeah, shall we assume it's the next morning when you awaken at the inn?
I do
oh
have-
no, you got the boxing.
He needs to punch
Yeah.
people.
Actually,
Yes.
once we sign the contract,
Okay.
before we like go to the boxing thing, or maybe as we're walking to the boxing thing, I do have one point to bring up about the bandits and something that the captain told us. So he mentioned that they were taking, some people, their bodies weren't recovered. And it could be they're taken as hostages or prisoners, and that could be it. But it could also be possible that someone's taking the bodies to make into zombies.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
the interesting thing that was mentioned before was that if obviously Crick's raids are a thing that happen around here, and when Crick's raid stuff, they tend to take all the bodies precisely because they use them as fuel and materials and things. So initially, I thought, well, if they're taking some and leaving some, it doesn't make sense. Why would they leave some? But if they're a small outfit, they may literally not be able to take many of the bodies to hand over to a necromancer for turning into thralls.
Or
Yeah.
it's one thing other to consider, which is when Cricks raid, that tends to elicit a really big response.
Yeah.
And really quick from like local forces in a big way. If they're hiding it as bandit attacks, building strength and resources, and flying under the radar because it's just bandits. And this is a nasty group of bandits, but it's a small group of bandits rather than a crick attack.
In which case, they've got local contacts helping them because someone is selling this stuff into Highgate.
Exactly. But what we can also then think is that all those bodies that are going missing, it's not that it can't possibly be crick. It's that if it is crick, they're not following the normal behavior. So someone is doing something a bit different for a reason.
I was
I'm going to be
thinking,
honest, I hope it's not Cricks because the four of us versus a full Cricks raiding force is going to be a rather one-sided fight.
I was
and not
thinking
in our favour.
it's more related to the witch we fought.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, if there are several, if that necromancer has some friends in the area,
Exactly.
well, something to consider. But I think we'll have to keep that in mind when we start investigating in the area.
And hopefully it's not more Thamarites.
Thamarites
Yeah,
get
hopefully
everywhere.
not.
You know how they are,
Yeah. They're the worst.
coming out the woodwork. Also, by the twins, that captain, Bragg, you said they're understaffed here. I now believe you well and truly because that captain is hauling us out, literally looking for. Like, do you? Yeah, he's desperate if he's hired us. Not to besmirch our capabilities, but we were some random people in the pub he heard and decided we might be suitable for the task. So you can tell he is genuinely at his wit's end at this point.
Well, the fact that he's got a mercenary company that he's sat there draining his coffers because he can't dismiss them. So if he dismisses them, they'll leave. So he needs them to be here in the city, but he can't send them out there to deal with this problem. That's going to be looking bad. That is like you know, when I was with my squad, we had to do some pretty nasty stuff inside trenches and behind enemy lines and stuff like that. If he's a captain of the watch, why hasn't he talked to the local militia or
Well, I think
people?
he's one of the a regiment captain of
There you
one
are
of the
then.
village rather
He'll
than.
have scouts. You know,
No,
there's
he doesn't.
well, no, I think he does. I think that he is vastly underplaying what this group is capable of. That was my little thing. The fact that he was like 4 random people in a pub who are talking about this and seeing us, okay, maybe they can handle themselves.
I think we're bait them.
Yeah, rather than going, here is 10 of my best scouts, go out there, get used to the terrain, wait a little while, wait until the bandits strike, and then follow them and just murdering them in their sleep.
Well, it could be we're just really tough. I mean, have you thought about that? I scared off that guy earlier.
and I blew up that necromancer's head. But it's one thing to say we're tough. It's another thing to say we're a military unit.
Mm.
I think we're pretty tough. We're tougher than a military unit.
A
We
very
can move
small
more-
military unit.
I think I'm still
one
feeling the effects of
man.
that cigar.
That's nice to see.
And the vodka.
Yes. There are now many people more than 4 people in this group. There's dozens of us.
I mean, just look at all the brags we've got.
So, are you heading off to this
Fight club.
underground fighting club? Yeah. I am not going to roll combat because that would just be ridiculous. Instead, what we can do is we can make a gambling roll, but we're going to change it slightly. Let me have a look. Let's see. So gambling is normally based on perception and is a general skill. Assisted gambling, characters who help each other when gambling are considered to be cheating. Cheating of this nature does not require agility deception roll. The player making the gambling roll is the leader. Each character assisting makes a perception plus deception roll. So instead, what I need is for Fragget to make a the unarmed combat roll that you would normally do in where you're fighting, and that is what will assist the gambling roll of whoever is laying down bets for the party to because essentially you're kind of like you're fighting in a way to elicit that people think you might lose or you might win, to like change the odds around. So that represents the entire night. You might throw a match and then go, or you might beat someone quite easily, or make it look like you're having a hard time before the main kind of fight.
One of the big things that I'm trying to do here is actually make a lasting impression.
Yeah.
I want someone approaching or trying to, approach maybe after a little while or whatever, to find out who I am and who I represent. And if I don't represent someone, I'm trying to elicit that response, to find the local fixer that wants to, hire me, sort of thing. Because it's the only way I can think to contribute to
Okay,
this
so
investigation.
who's making the gambling roll for laying down the bets and negotiating the odds on Fragget's fight?
I've got perception 5, if that is if anyone's.
I'm just gonna stand around and look intimidating.
Um,
And our
don't know if-
weapons allowed inside?
Sorry.
Our weapons allowed inside.
Weapons are left at the door.
Okay, then I'm definitely gonna keep up my left sleeve my holdout pistol.
Yeah.
Well, they can't take my dress sword. It's part of the outfit.
They mostly won't, because they mostly think it's not a very good sword.
it's clearly a theatrical prop.
Yeah.
Truth hurts.
I guess I'll do the gambling roll then.
Yeah, please do.
What I'm not looking to do here is like make massive amounts of cash. A bit like Fragget, it's more a case of making me known, and also because I don't want to accidentally win a shitload and then have a situation where we go out and people want to break our kneecaps because we've walked off with too much money.
Yeah. The big thing for this, at least from sort of my perspective as the player, is that this is about establishing us, at least myself and Finch, as new criminals in town, sort of thing. That was my purpose for this. Alrighty then. Well, that's a bloody good roll. We crit on any doubles, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's a pair of 4s, which is a total of an unarmed combat of 15.
Okay, good. That adds +1 to the perception. To the perception gambling roll. Then, yeah.
Okay, I'm spending a feat point on this to keep the wheeling, dealing, money flowing, and generally sliding into the den of vice that is this underground pit fighting thing. That's not bad. What's that? Like, maths is hard at the end of the week. 16, 17.
Okay. So after 2 or 3 bouts and Fragget kind of like, just scraping through on the first 2 and then winning big, everyone cheering as you're fighting literally 2 people at once. You net in total, we'll say you net about 25 gold crowns in total.
Yep.
And people are like, cheering Fragget, and basically you're now a name in the underground kind of boxing circles as some sort of underdog they weren't expecting. They're now figuring out whether there should be some larger, you versus 3 people, or could they get another Trollkin in from somewhere, or an Ogren. There's conversations of who you're going to fight next.
Well, we'll have to make the suggestion here. We're going to be heading out of town for a week, but if they want to set up an exhibition match, they've got time now to try and get something interesting in.
That was my big thought, was that we have this gap. Give them a week to set up an exhibition match, and we'll see who's there, and maybe Heightley or Solomon or someone with clout will be there to see them, because there's always criminals at this sort of thing.
Right. So with your fun for the evening over, and after plenty more vodka and adulterated whiskey, you head back to the inn and sleep soundly before rising early and finding ready for you a local soldier with a couple of soldiers with your carriage, and the down payment is already already on it, so you should have a whole 100 gold crowns already as a deposit on this that you can pay up, because obviously if you fail they'll and the carriage doesn't come back, they want the money for the carriage. So you're gonna have to give over a deposit, but you already got 25.
I can chip in 25.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the we have a lot of money from the bounty, didn't we?
Yeah, you have the money from the bounty as well, and you
shunt out that for now, I guess.
You get in the carriage, or whoever's. Oh, does that mean? I'm just thinking. Does that mean Zacharias is mostly having to control the horses? Because you're the only one that can ride. And Mike's on mute.
Muted.
Riding isn't a skill in this game, so
It's a general
is.
skill.
It's a general skill.
Yeah, it's general.
I didn't see it in the rulebook. So I don't have any training in riding.
Okay.
We'll need a teamster then.
It's an agility skill.
Yeah.
You can make riding skills. So who has good agility, basically?
I have good agility.
And it's only, you only need the skill for like specific stuff, which we shouldn't
Yeah.
actually run into going on the road.
So
but,
it's really whoever's got the best agility to just,
Kato going to be the gun-loaded coachman. So if anyone
Yeah,
tries
actually,
to
he
stick
looks
us up,
perfect for the
pull
role.
guns
He
out.
looks like he looks like a coachman.
I'll ride shotgun or on the pinion, the backboard, so it looks as if that we're actually guarding
Someone important
well,
or something.
yeah,
Now,
someone.
shuffle the cards in and inside. So, card game, Zacharias? Says the two of us are in the
Now,
carriage.
Zacharias, I have a question that's going to sound a little odd, but you wouldn't happen to
yes.
carry like a family flag on you, would you?
The heraldry, of course. It's in my luggage.
Okay. And do you have like a fancy outfit that you wear, like super fancy?
Well, I mean, I'm in my fancy outfit.
It is
Okay,
pretty
then-
fancy.
Then
It
we're
is.
gonna like run up like maybe a flag on the back of the wagon.
Oh,
And-
I got some pennants you can put up.
See, we'll put up a pennant, and then
Has
we're gonna
Zacharias
stop
got
at-
some makeup to put on, some powder.
No, he has it on. He's got the white.
Yeah, I
and
was
the
expecting
reddish.
Yeah. Excellent.
And we're gonna stop
So-
at every inn just for 5 minutes as we're heading out there, because
Well, you've got to
I
keep
want-
snacks on available, haven't you?
Well, no, it's
no,
just
They stock the
I'm not.
snacks.
We'll get you guys some wine and stuff, but we'll go sit with the Teamsters and complain that he's making us ride the entire day, sort of thing.
Well,
With
yes, of
all
course.
that treasure.
Well,
Yeah,
of
no,
course,
no,
because
don't-
I'm
don't lay
a
it on too
wealthy
thick.
I'm a
Yeah, don't lay
wealthy
on too
real
thick.
estate speculator looking to
Yeah.
purchase riding inns, coaching inns in the area.
And then these bandits probably have a lookout somewhere at one of these inns, looking
Yep.
for people on the road.
Yeah.
We're going to
That's
get
why.
attacked by every 2-bit bandit in a 100-mile road. None of them are going to be the guys we're looking for. They're all going to be just trying their luck.
Well, then we're going to clear out all the crime on this road.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, then they're gonna be
Yes.
getting their money's worth, aren't they?
I
Excellent.
think it'll work.
Oh, and Kato, you can actually smoke those cigars on the top of the coach quite nicely, and that won't
No,
upset anyone.
I'm not gonna. No.
Oh, don't worry, son. I'll be smoking them for his boat.
You can't start a cigar and then give up, not even a quarter of the way through.
Oh no, I'm gonna smoke. I'm gonna finish smoking it, but not while I'm riding this wagon, unless we can all suddenly breathe water, because I guarantee you I will crash the wagon. Not on
Hallucinating
purpose,
as he's
but
driving.
Oh, I'm just getting Fear and Loathing at Las Vegas,
yeah,
and suddenly there are birds everywhere.
it's
100
okay.
miles from Highgate when the
This carriage
hallucinogenics
has
kicked in.
seahorses. That this carriage has seahorses.
Right.
Plan.
So with that, you are ready to set off, and the carriage, clatters through the streets of Highgate, winding along going over the large arched bridge that crosses the ravine, and then heads off out through the city gates and into the wilderness, the farmlands, heading along the coastline. So quite often the road will weave nearer to the coastline, and you can see the broken coast, you can see various ships, whaling ships and so forth, and other galleons and so forth. And yeah, you're just riding for a good couple of hours, stopping every so often at every coaching house, to make a commotion of some sort. Right. And as you're riding along, everyone can make a perception check. I think perception is a skill.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Or detection.
Detection.
Detection is the skill,
Yeah.
is what it's called in this, and it runs off the perception
Skill.
stat.
Yeah.
But so detection is the right one too.
Not great.
Ooh. Double sixes. Got boxcars here with a 17 total.
11 for me.
11. for
Nothing
me.
special.
Okay.
11.
Anyone that's got anyone that's succeeded on a 12, then you can see in the distance there is some smoke rising up over the horizon, and you can see carrion birds circling over high, as if something's died there.
Oh,
That's
my.
alarming. We're scarcely, we're not even 20 miles away from Highgate yet, I don't think. Surprised to have run into trouble already.
Yeah, well, unfortunate. Driver, take us towards the fire and the smoke.
Does it look like it's on the road ahead, or is it away from
No,
the
it's
coast
away.
road?
You're heading more towards the coast, and you're heading down. If you were higher up, you'd be heading over a hill or two, and then back down towards the coastline, mostly onto
So right down
the
to
beach
the
line.
coast
Yeah,
front.
back right down. And as you do so, as you go over the crest of the hill, you can see that the smoke is rising from what looks like a small fishing village. There are various boats that are moored up on the beach, and there are you know, there's no flames that you can see from that distance, but there is smoke billowing from each of the small holdings that are there.
The string of attacks that we saw that were laid out,
Yeah.
would they all be a decent march from the river or like the sea? Or were they all villages along the coastline?
No, they're not all along
or...
the coastline. No, some are
Right,
quite
okay.
a distance inland as well.
Okay. Scratch that idea then. They're not using like a boat and then marching in and out and stuff like that, which would be a reason why no one could find them.
Well, we can't assume these are these bandits. It might be something else, given we're right by the
You're
water.
right. You're right. I should not be making assumptions.
Can
So,
we
yes.
can we take this carriage in and park it a little way away so our 100 crown deposit is safe before we approach closer?
Fine, I'll get out and walk.
I'm sorry to impose on you, my lord.
So yes, you find somewhere to and you find some greenery to uproot and cover the coach with, and you head down towards the beach, and ahead is a small collection of smouldering buildings, burnt down to stone foundations, which project from the grey beach like black rotting teeth. A lone figure moves between the ruins, dragging something along the ground.
Here, close at the figure, I guess.
Yeah, as they get closer towards you, you realise that it's clearly a woman, and she's dragging with her what must be a shovel or spade of some sort.
Watch out in case this is bait.
You there! I say, you there, madam! What befell this village?
She looks in the direction. You're quite some distance away, I guess, still. Oh, good sirs, please come quickly. They're all dead.
Carefully, as I said, it might be bait.
You approach and you see that her hands are covered in soot. Her clothing is torn. She has some bruises and injuries and is bleeding from a few kind of gashes. And you can see that behind her, away from the beach, up onto the, off the sand, there are already, she's been piling up stones and making graves. And burying people.
Not a trap then.
She though as you approach, you also see that before her, because she's near one of the buildings, there's one of a number of corpses, blackened, that she's lined up. There is smoke still coming up from their charred remains. Good sir, they came in the early hours. I was away inland looking for just herbs for the day, and then I come back and there's this. Everyone's dead. My father's dead. My brothers, my uncle, everyone.
You've had yourself a really nasty shock, and so just sit down for a minute, and I'm gonna tend to the scratches and stuff like that, and then you can be telling Master Zinfandel there what you saw. Okay.
We must know. I must bury them for Morrow's sake. They must be buried.
Listen. We can deal with all that once I've taken care of you. All right? Because you've got some nasty injuries there, miss. And it'd be best not to hurt yourself, because then you won't be able to carry on burying anyone, will you? So sit yourself down. I'll take care of the wounds, and you can tell Master Zinfandel everything you saw.
She sits down on one of the moored fishing boats that they have there, and begins to weep.
Kato, you're a military man, aren't you? Away from her weeping and brag to Nicola, do these corpses look like they've been hit with an incendiary weapon? or do they simply look like they've been burned in their homes? I'm sorry to put this on your expertise of killing people and all that, but
Oh no, it's fine. With that, so I'm gonna look closer at the corpses. My gun's out, by the way.
You are going to need to make the appropriate investigation roll for this. So I think this
as
is
long
gonna
as
be
it's not forensic science, because none of us have that, and none of us can get it.
Yeah, it's going to have to be forensics, though, which is untrained. You don't really have much hope of that if no one has it. So that's not really going to work for you.
Would a medicine roll or something help to give an idea of how these corpses?
I do have
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say use medicine, and you can also make use of detection as well to kind of look around, see if there's anything else around that could be spotted that is not forensic in nature.
So 2 separate rolls?
Yeah, 2 separate rolls, yeah.
Okay. We'll do detection first. So detection, which is a 5 plus 9, so that's 14. And then here's my medicine, which is off of a 4. That is a 12.
Okay. So, looking at the bodies, you count from the graves and from those that still remain. There's men, women, children, burnt beyond recognition, and you can tell that while they are severely burnt, the fire is not what killed them.
Okay.
There are other wounds indicating a violent death. Most of the villagers, you can tell, were killed more than likely because of course the burns have gone, the flames, the charring has gone within the wounds. And the wounds suggest that they were, killed with heavy chopping weapons, so axes or a heavy sword. Of the victims there, you're able to, and of course being a gun mage, you're more than able to identify this. Only 2, there are only 2 gunshot wounds, both shots in the back, as if the victims may have been running or fleeing from the attackers.
Ones they had to shoot down because they get away otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention all that out loud.
Yeah. Finch will sort of nod.
This would fit the description of bandits who are attacking. Well, they wouldn't want to risk firing off that much ammunition.
Obviously, what they did was they killed the villagers, then they stacked them in the buildings, and they set fire to the buildings to destroy, I suppose, to get rid of it. But what I originally thought that if we were dealing with something like an ex-military outfit, what they would probably be doing is lining people up and shooting them. They killed everybody, men, women, and children, and they did most of that with, you're saying something like machetes or axes.
Yeah.
That's not normal bandit behavior. That's not even we're going to cover up the tracks and leave no witnesses. That is people with very warped minds to be willing to do that kind of violence. Or, something worse from the Crixisles. But if we're still talking about bandits, human bandits,
I think we need some more information out of this woman here. So
hopefully Bragg's managed to calm her.
Yeah.
Move over to that scene.
I got a 12 on medicine.
On medicine to calm her.
To calm her, to actually
that's fine.
Wounds and
yeah.
stuff.
You dress her wounds. You give her a stiff drink, and between her sobs, she explains how she was out in the early hours, gathering herbs and roots. And when she came back, she hid because she could hear the fighting and the killing. She heard doors being kicked in. She heard the voice of her father trying to fight as he was fighting back. Heard the screams of her mother. She heard her siblings, Kyle and Kara, crying. She explains that they were only 13 years old. and that their crying didn't stop until obviously they were murdered.
Bragor tried to keep
Absolutely
from
brutal.
going too much into that for shock's sake and stuff like that. Sort of moving her into the less the specifics of the like what happened to the people she loved, and more like the generalities of the situation that she might, because she's clearly going to be in shock and in a trauma response.
Did she see anything?
One of the things that I do want to ask her is, is today like a market day or anything that might group the people in a centralized location within the village? Like, is this town fair day, or is this like the day that the boats come back? Something that would have as much of the village in the center of the village as possible, because that would explain why the bandits would attack today, because it means that there's less chance of people having weaponry. And
She notes that the night before was, because there's 3 moons around the world of Urken, and the one which is most similar to our moon was a new moon, so there was no moonlight, so it's not even ideal for anyone to be out fishing at night when you might catch certain things. So everyone, and because there's no natural light, it's not safe, so everyone was in the village.
Back in.
Right. So they're probably using that sort of. This is not in character to her. This is sort of like a, they're looking around at the other people to in the investigative party to make them aware that that's how they're doing this sort of stuff. That's how they're getting villagers wiped out.
And not even needing to go in and risk exposing themselves in the first place. They're just looking at the factors like that. Yeah.
Who rolled perception plus detection?
I did.
Yeah, what did you get on that?
First was
Quite good, wasn't it?
I didn't order my sheet. First my detection was 14, and then my medicine was 12.
Okay, your detection then. Once you've looked over the bodies and, clearly mostly also had a swig of Ordic whiskey to kind of calm your nerves, because it's quite a horrific thing seeing the bodies of dead children. You start looking around the charred remains of the homes, and amongst the what remains there, you notice, still glinting in the near-ish midday light, flecks of and pieces of what looks rather silvery or a bit of gold. And then you realise that would have been the coinage that they would have had. That would have been valuables. So nothing
Left the money.
They left the money behind, and they left anything of any value.
Gentlemen, and I'm gonna fish through like one of like the cooler sets of ash. Just pull out like a coin. They left the money. Bandit would have taken the money.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, they're not bandits.
Right.
I'll walk over
Okay.
and dust off the coin. I'm gonna give it to her. So
Has anyone got command by any chance?
Yeah.
Do you want to roll intelligence plus command?
I don't have command. That's not me.
Pair of sixes.
Wow.
Epic.
So that means that with my natural leader and everything like that, that comes out at an 18.
Wow. Okay. Now you put on a different hat, and this is perhaps compared to everyone else. You're suddenly your brow furrows as you start looking at the
This is military.
the prints in the ground, and then you realise, you see on one of the actual fishing boats. You see the remains of you see the powder from gunshot, and then you start putting it all together in your head, and you realise that the attack was carried out with, they knew what they were doing. They had surrounded the village, and someone had gone in and set the fires, and you've been able to work out, you think more or less where that would have been done, and then essentially created a kill zone.
Yeah.
So they, gather them together, and there's clearly been a marksman taking down anyone that got past the cordon of these.
Yeah. This isn't
attackers.
banditry. This sounds like a coordinated raid by like almost military forces. This is what some of the darker aspects of army work can occasionally be.
Yeah.
Is destroying the peasantry and
And
stuff.
that's oddly why it doesn't feel like Cricks. Cricks raids are terror troops often. They are rampaging horrible things. This is too precise. Like, Cricks don't care in general if they're terrorizing. They want us terrorized. They want to plunder. They want to take bodies. They don't form what is just in kill zones and careful sniping positions and things like that. They send wave after wave of shambling dead.
I have an idea who it is, but I don't know like if everyone's gonna like it when I say it.
Well, say it.
Say it.
This sounds like a Kador raid.
We're a long way from Kador. We're
are.
wrong end of the country for it, surely.
We are. It doesn't mean that they're not like mercenaries who could be operating out of there.
Nah,
I
they
suppose.
take the money though. You know how impoverished those Khadorans are.
Well,
They-
Kadoran mercenaries would. Kadoran troops, well disciplined enough, wouldn't. But I can't see what they'd be doing all the way down here.
The
Does anyone
only
have
reason-
perception and tracking?
I have navigation.
Yeah, same. It's
Uh,
not one. It's not one
let's
that I
Tracking
get for
is
either of my things.
tracking going to be a general skill. Let's just check.
It's you
no.
can't. It's a perception-based skill. You can do it without the skill if you
Yes,
want. By the
so
look
you
of it.
can you can do it untrained. So you can just roll
Uh,
perception.
All right. Ooh, that's a good roll. That is a total of 14.
Wow. Okay. Yes. You're noting what Fraggot has pointed out. You then begin to put together that there can't be more than a half dozen armored men, because you can tell by almost by the type of the boots they're wearing.
Indentation.
Yeah. Clearly showing that they have steel toe caps to their boots and so forth.
So the riders as well. Then.
And at least half of the tracks seem quite deep, heavier than the others.
Heavy armor, then. Or
Or
are they really big boots?
or carrying something. In other words, there's
Yeah.
weight to them.
yeah. So they're taking something, obviously.
People. They're taking people.
Yeah, but
It's
not
the
everybody.
vibe.
Specific people. Yeah.
Mary,
So we have some sort of rogue kill team.
I'm just going
Wait.
to walk back to the woman.
Actually, real quick, Chris. Is there a town church?
No, this is a village.
Okay, I was just wondering if there's.
There
like,
would have
any,
been
like,
a
village
small. There would have been a small
Or a shrine.
shrine tomorrow. Yeah.
overlook. Okay.
I'm just going to walk over to the woman we found. Her name was Mary, isn't it? I'm not misremembering that.
No,
Let's
it's not
say
Mary.
yes.
It is. The woman actually gives her name. Her name is Hayden Connolly.
Miss Connolly, I know what has happened here has been terrible, and I know right now you don't want to be thinking of this, but can you tell me if anyone is missing?
She starts looking over the bodies again, and looking in that direction and actually thinking and counting. You can tell that she's just counting in her head. There might be. There's two missing.
And who are they? Are they men? Are they women, children?
She starts thinking, and then she
Yeah.
between her sobs and sniffles, she gets up and walks back over to the body. She knows, knowing who she's already buried, she has a look at the other bodies. I thought they killed Kyle and Kara.
All right. So, men and a woman. What can you tell us about those two?
Kyle and Kara, they're I'm sorry, it's too much for me to think. There's just been too much death.
It's fine. Right. So we're in a bit of a pickle here because we're gonna go after them to try and get Kyle and Kara back.
They're children. They're children. They're twins.
Right. That's fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. Right now, you're out here alone. Now, you could come with us and stay in the carriage, or you can start getting one of the boats and go downriver to the city to let someone know what's happened here. Neither, I know, is going to seem very attractive, but if you come with us, I promise you we'll do our best to keep you safe.
But I cannot leave until everyone is buried.
I know that, but think of it this way. Kyle and Kara are kids, alright? Which means that there are 2 more people out there who are alive right now and need our help.
Then you should go for them, and I will stay here and bury my family and my friends.
Miss, the reason I'm asking you to come with us or leave here is in case they come back.
Then if they come back, I will hide. Everyone must be buried, or else their souls are forfeit and will be lost in Urken. There'll be food for the worm.
Would you accept a military burial for them?
A military burial? What matter? They must be buried now.
Yeah. But what we can do is we can send them. We can send them out on a boat and then burn the boat. All right, it's a military thing. When we don't have time to bury people,
But if they're not consecrated properly, their bones will just be taken by the horrors of Crix.
There isn't much left after it burns. It's mostly ash.
Listen, we don't have time for this. Just allow her to bury the dead while we go investigate this. And, fair
Zach,
lady, if you hear something, just go and hide again.
Zach, you don't know how long it takes to dig graves like that. And
it mustn't take that long.
Don't
There are a
make
lot
me
of
slap
bodies.
you. And you're going to be here alone with the dead. Miss, I promise you, if you come with us, we'll help you bury it afterwards. Look, I'm a troll kid, so we have a bit of a different.
Yes, and your soul is
understanding
not bound tomorrow.
So we've a bit of a different understanding of things, but that's why I'm asking you if that would be
She just
acceptable.
walks away and starts, digging more graves.
Right.
It's a lost cause, Bragg. Sorry. You have your intentions are good, but she's not. It's not going to get through to her.
Listen,
It's all right. She'll hide. There's nothing more we can do. We'll have to come back
Right.
for her.
Are we going to look and see if these tracks, these boot prints, go somewhere then?
I think so.
They'll have horses nearby, I imagine.
Either that or maybe a carriage of their own. Horses,
Nah,
therefore.
too many
as well.
people. Half a dozen people. It would be too. Carriages are too noisy. You'd billet your horses, travel to the village on foot. It's military. Something is really wrong here. Either the crick have changed entirely, and something terrible is coming out of that aisle, or this is too clean. This is too military. This is what you do to inspire terror. All right?
Without wanting to dismiss Cato's thoughts of Cador troops, and also without wanting to insult the Signar military, you've been a captain of them. Is it possible this is a band of Signar military who have gone, but not just rogue, but are doing something very, very wrong? Because, like you say, it's too clean, it's too talented. This isn't just a band of deserters who are going around looting for, stealing, banditry. This is something else. Could this be Signar troops?
No, they could be Ordish, could be Laolese for all we know. Why don't we? Could be from Menoth. Those insane people. If we follow this this trail, we find them.
So I just want to know if we're going to
find
get
it.
shot down by ranks of repeating rifles when we get there.
Well, if we come across a battle line of trenchers or the like, I say we do not engage.
Well, these tracks then. With what I'd seen of the tracks, do we have enough to go on and follow them away from the site?
Yes, you can just you succeed on the first roll, so you know what you're looking for.
I guess we're going to have to go on foot until we see if they got on horses and rode off, and then
And you follow the tracks. They head along the beach initially, and then they head up inland. So they're obviously trying to make it look like try and lead people away to make it think they're attacking from boats, but actually they go inland. You keep following them, and before long you've left farmland, and you're really you've traveled a good few miles on foot, and you're now into some rather deep woods. The sun is above you. It's still relatively cold, especially near the you're still relatively near the coastline, so it's cold with the spring air. There isn't much chirruping. If everyone can make a perception plus detection roll, that would be great.
10.
I get a pair of 2s, which means I get a total of 9. I don't know if crits do anything in that regard.
12.
So everyone's 12,
Yes, we've
9...
got as a pair of 12s.
Okay, good, right. So yeah, you're able to keep track. You're not getting lost in the woods, and the forest gives way to a small clearing. And before you see a man in heavy armor, propping himself against a moss-covered log. One hand you can see is clamped against his side, and there's blood seeping around it. And in the other hand, he's gripping a large pistol. He looks at you fearfully. He's and he raises shakily, trying with all his might to lift the pistol towards you. Stay back! Stay back! I'll shoot!
It's his accent.
Interesting. That's a good thing. His accent has a Cadoran twang to it.
Oh, if Cato was right, I'll be
My
outraged.
Holy smokes!
Wow.
You also realise by the way that his beard is cut.
Hearing that voice, Zacharias Zinfandel will dash forward using a feat point and knock the pistol out of his hand.
Excellent. Is that what you've got? Have you got a skill to do that?
Yeah, I've got a ability which lets me quick thinking. I can use a feat point to act or attack before another person's turn.
Oh wow! Yeah, so you literally just run over and kick it out of his hands. Brilliant.
Yep.
He's just like shocked as you do that, and just tries to like push himself away from you. Get away from me! Get away from me!
His fellows have left him behind, so he must be
Because
badly
he's
injured.
wounded. Yeah.
Everyone can
actually-
make a perception roll.
Yeah.
Perception detection roll is fine.
11.
13.
12.
Everyone that got a 12 or higher, you realise that his clothing and anything upon him doesn't really seem what you would expect from Kadoran military or anything. And
Jimmy's disguised.
you spot at a necklace at his chest, that you can see just through the opening of his shirt. And you've seen this before, worn by Father Damas. The Order of Illumination.
We've got a Kadoran with an Order of Illumination amulet.
Do they even operate out of Kador? Interesting.
Morrowind is the primary religion, so
of
I
Kador,
imagine
yes,
they've got their own branch.
Sorry, I just always think of the Kadorans as a backwards people without such culture.
Great.
However, Zacharias is going to do something a little to put this guy in his back feet a little bit. He's going to start to talk to him in Kadoran.
Oh, holy shit!
Yep.
Wow, excellent.
He still has his sword drawn. However, he's going to have it in a more relaxed posture and say something along the lines of, "Hello, my friend, my brother. What brings you to Signar in such a manner?"
You speak the mother tongue?
Of course.
Excuse me, I was injured.
Oh, well, perhaps one of my friends here could, remove your armor and tend to your wounds.
I can do that.
Okay, you can make a intelligence plus medicine roll.
Uh-oh. Nah, I got this.
While
What's
they're
the-
doing this, I'm just
What's the
keeping
benefit
my
of
eyes out
helping in this?
on the surrounding woods.
11.
Okay. Anyone else?
What's the benefit of helping?
If you
Well,
roll, let me just.
we're removing his armor and
Yeah, let me
just
Well, I always
check.
have medicine.
trying to.
Helping
Is there
with
an aid and other
medicine
type thing?
is if you roll, it will add +1 to the result of the other character.
Okay, well, you got an 11. I got a 13. So,
Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
So one
So
of you
that's
does
without
better
a
enough.
+1.
Yeah, so you're
So that'd
able
be a
to
14
stabilize him.
+1.
You realise he's got a shoulder wound. You tend to it, but that's really superficial. You pry away his hand, and blood begins to just seep out of the wound. It's a gunshot wound.
Crap.
It's pretty bad, and you can't do anything to stop it.
A
L-
gunshot.
Yeah, and you put pressure back on it, and he's panting from it.
Okay, we got to find out what the fuck's going on.
Where's the gunshot to? Like
It-
chest. gut?
It's to his gut. It's pretty bad. It's mostly perforated his stomach.
Ugh.
Oh, so it's okay. So it's perforated.
By your military
dead.
experience, he's a dead man.
Yeah.
He hasn't got
But-
long to live.
Get what you
Yeah.
can out of him while you still
Your
can.
your big trollkin hand applies enough pressure to stop the bleeding for now, but otherwise he's dead.
I'm not going to tell him that.
You're basically known as you do what's known as a trollkin tourniquet on most humans when they've needed it in battle, which is you've clamped it around their leg while it's been chopped off by a barber surgeon. That's the best. That's your level of medicine. So yes, in between him being examined and through cries of pain as you're attending to him, he speaks in Kadoran to Zacharias. What were we saying? Yes. My name is Oliver. Oliver Marsden would be the Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a member of the Order of Illumination. I have come all the way from Kador.
Yes, that's quite a trip. We are working for the Order of Illumination as well.
Have the little things to prove it.
Indeed.
By Morrow. Yes. Then you are here for Bowden.
Yes, that's actually exactly what we're looking for. Is he?
I can't understand the Cadoran, but I can understand the name.
Yeah.
That is precisely who we're looking
Bowden.
for. And in fact, is he operating out of these woods? Is he operating with this banditry that's been going on?
Yes. They're working from the bandits.
Yes. Where are they? Have you found their headquarters?
They're somewhere nearby.
Okay.
I was close. I've been following their attacks. I've been careful to. I've tried not to be seen. Raise suspicions. I suspect they may have a mole within the local forces.
Great. That's
He's-
good to
he-
hear that they have a mole in the local forces.
And I fear he's been taking bodies from where he's been raiding. Necromancy is doing something like that.
Yes.
What-
Peculiar. It's been
what kind
taking
of-
bodies.
What kind of lead would draw someone from Kador all the way here? Why is this guy here? What brought him here?
There's been similar. He was working. His name we heard him passing up north, related to similar works. We've been tracking.
This asshole's got stuff in Kador then as well.
We've been tracking disappearances. We've been finding
Fucking hell.
laboratories and bodies and victims, and it's just foul necromantic mechanica. But not Crixian though. Not Crixian.
Amorites?
I did. Their farmstead is nearby, where he's held up. He has a lab there. He has a number of men guarding him. And I don't know about the rest of my men if they live.
The rest of your men. How many were you with?
There are two others.
And they just left you here?
I was slowing them down. When you have someone of such dark arts, we must give ourselves tomorrow.
Yes, your sacrifice is noted.
He has a book. He has a book we learnt of that he stole. And yes, there's a book.
Okay. What's the name of the book?
I cannot speak its name.
The Unspeakable Book. Okay. Brother, your service is very valued to the forces of good and justice in the world, and I regret to inform you that we have no way of saving you from this most grievous wound.
I know. I'm lucky you've come by. I'm lucky that you're working on behalf of the Order of Illumination. You do not
Yes.
look like
Yes.
you do not look like witch hunters to me.
We're,
Looks around.
we're-
I'm sure Finch is like, nope, I'm not a witch hunter.
we're contractors.
It is though your duty. I hope you are faithful tomorrow. I understand, Sir Trollkin. You pray to you pray to another god, and I see you simply as a friend. I understand that, but you three, I hope, are bound by service and by faith that you might avenge my death here.
Definitely service.
We are very inclined to make restitution for what you've suffered, regardless of faith or other inclinations.
But I beg you, if you find the tome, you must return it to the order. It is
Can you at least tell us what it looks like? We're going to have a hard time identifying it if you won't tell us the
Okay,
name.
you can make a negotiation check.
Well, I actually have that.
Oh, okay. Let me just check negotiation. What it has to be against. Negotiation, social skill, negotiation rolls. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. You just need to choose the skill it runs. The attribute you're running off, right?
Perception. I'm trying to get the details of something out of him on the basis that I'm pointing out to him the reasons why if he doesn't tell us, then we're stuffed.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Should I spend a feet point on this? This guy could be quite important by the sound of it.
As I say, this is the opportunity to
feet point. There we go. That's reasonably good. That becomes 17.
Wow. Okay.
Spent.
He, after some conversation and negotiation with it and explaining that it is...
Me explaining why we need him to tell us this.
We need to kind of know what we're looking for.
Yeah.
The book is... It is a copy of the Librum Mechanicus.
That sounds bad.
Yeah. And I can tell you now that more than likely, Finch, you have heard of it in passing, and you've definitely heard of it in passing, knowing who your friends have been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
The Librum Mechanicus is an ancient and much reviled tome that purportedly details the melding of Mechanica with ancient Orgoth rites. Its pages are said to contain designs for all manner of terrible necromechanical constructs. According to legend, even the Helljacks of Crix are based on its schematics. Organisations such as the Fraternal Order of Wizardry and the Order of Illumination work to keep the few known copies of the Librum from falling into the hands of those who would use them for nefarious purposes. It seems Bowden has a copy.
I'm going to wait until we are not in the presence of the dying Inquisitor type to tell others some more details. And when I do, I'm going to be saying, well, as a scholar at university, I heard about this, and here's the things I heard.
That book belongs in a museum.
Yes, very much so. And frankly, Finch thinks it's the kind of book that deserves under a lot of fucking padlocks, because, you don't fuck with that shit.
And
but he will
sounds like we should be just burning it.
And with Bowden giving its name, he then, reaches out with his hand and he points in a direction and then slumps forward dead. And that's where we're going to leave it at the end of this the end of this session. Right. Okay. There's no XP for this session, I don't think.
No XP? You don't get like a basic one at least.
I'm just checking what the XP should be given out for this. Everyone just gets 1 XP for just taking part for the session.
For a total of 3.
Yep. And that means, more will be dished out at hopefully the end of next session, which will be the end of this part of the story, because this is Spirit and Steel, the name of this episode. Cool. That's going all interesting. Khadorans are there. There's the Order of Illumination.
I cannot believe you called that so much.
It was from military
wrong
position
around.
Snipers, and I thought of the Widowmakers, and I'm like,
yes, but you might yet be right, but so far it turns out this Khadoran is in fact a good guy, not one of the baddies.
Yeah, not all Khadorans are assholes. Right.
So am I right? I think we're total of XP of 4 now after the one today.
Yeah.
So we got 3 last time, 1 today. Okay, that's the next. That hits us the next level up.
Connection or military skill.
Nice.
Tasty. You can really upgrade your stuff.
What's for abilities?
Oh, abilities will be tied to your... Is it the archetype ability? Sorry.
Abilities? No, they're the things that are basically like talents. They're the ones like good breeding or flying fists or whatever. Those are what you call abilities in this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I should really be looking at the other one then, Urban Adventures.
Yeah, much. Although there's probably a ceiling as to how good at punching you can get before you just so good. It's like why up?
Oh yeah, in urban adventure, you're going to be able to pick up, like, if I just look at Pugilist very quickly, because he's
If we fight a warjack and you punch it to death, then I'll be very impressed.
yeah, that'll be interesting. I might
All
not.
right then.
We're all going to be
Fist of
impressed.
justice.
Yeah, Pugilist.
Good old right
you've got
hook.
hulking present, rock solid, trip, waylay, headbutt. There's loads of fun stuff. Anyway, yeah. So we'll be back in 2 weeks to carry on with Iron Kingdoms RPG. If you are interested in more content, go over to Darker Days Radio. So that's www.darker-days.org. There you can find episodes, things like Dark Hammer episodes, things like reviews of books. We're doing some reviews of some fairly recent stuff. I think we're going to do a review of Deviant finally.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's in indexing at the moment. I think it's almost out, isn't it?
We've got the PDF.
PDF.
It might.
PDF,
the Acker's PDF probably doesn't have any index in it. Yep.
yeah.
But you've got enough. Yeah. to
Yeah,
get in there.
and we've got an episode of Dark Hammer coming out next week, which is all about the loathsome rat men, good old Skaven.
Yes.
We are likely going to do a midweek Twitch stream where me and David are mostly going to talk a lot about Curse City and plans for how you can use it with to inspire your Soulbound games. And so just do a kind of semi-unboxing. Everyone's done a fucking unboxing, so what's the fucking point about that? You know, unboxings, everyone does it. And there'll be even more content as we're planning for other online conventions and things, because, you know, there's stuff like Onyx PathCon coming up in the near future,
Yep.
and there is the Swansea Comics and Games convention also. So that's all good fun. So you can also find us on Twitter, Instagram at Darker Days Radio, on Facebook. You can join us on our Discord, and, you know, if you want other fun content, you can head over to Gehenna Gaming's Twitch next week on Sunday and watch the continuing campaign of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay: The Enemy Within.
Oh yeah.
Where you're going to have a brand new player joining this week as well, as which is going to be cool. And there's other cool content. You know, also shout out to the guys at Full Metal RPG if you also want to find some excellent fun RPG content, hot takes on things, and rather frank, no bullshit. With that, I'd like to thank everyone for again taking part in Iron Kingdoms RPG. It's been really good fun. Nice to do actually amazing. We got through an entire session. There's like 0 combat, but tons of like just oozing.
Technically, Bragg
theme.
beat a bunch of people up.
Yeah, that was off screen, like kind of. That's, you know, a montage of people's faces being smashed and, you know, fish hooked and, you know,
It was an important investigative technique.
doing a stone cold on someone. I'm sure, things like that.
With the chair. Hit him
And
with the chair.
yeah, right. But obviously, if you've got any feedback, you know, you can contact us as well, darkdaysradio@gmail.com. So yeah, we're going to end it there, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.